This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
Driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
Well, thank you so much, Parker, and welcome to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Ervin, and we are moving through the month of February, which also happens to be Black History Month here in the United States. Now, during this month, one can look to just about any large or decent-sized city for something related and celebrating Black history, and the city of Lansing is no different. Our guests today are both involved with a wonderful presentation celebrating the contributions of Black musicians to the genre of rock and roll. But you're also going to find some R&B mixed in there as well. And here to talk about that are two key musicians from this presentation, Benjamin Richard Hall and Eric Hamilton. What's up, guys? Welcome to Time Signatures. How are you?
Hello, Jim.
Doing well, Jim. Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah,
It's my pleasure. And Ben, it's good to have you back, man. You were on here last year with Twilight. It was so much fun. I want to dive right in. We got a lot to talk about here. So, Ben, I want to begin with you, sir. And you have been on here, as I said, on the podcast before, so stranger to my inquisitive nature. Talk about the inspiration for creating the Black Rock series, would you?
Well, truthfully, my entire life has been an exploration of Black history.
Okay.
It's been since I knew I was Black, which actually didn't happen until I was about 7 years old. I have been making it my duty to be informed about and proud of my culture. Black rock is no different. It's just kind of a further exploration of Black history, and it was brought about by one day. I normally have a job where I'm very much outside, and I for a short period of time I had a desk job, and at that desk job they listened to the common rock and roll. I mean, popular station, popular rock and roll station,
Right.
and Purple Rain came on by Prince, and I was listening to that song, and I was like, this is about one of the best rock and roll songs ever made. And then I started to think, well, they never play this on the classic rock station. Why is that?
It's true.
And so I began to think about, I'm sure that there's other artists similar. And I was like, oh, Lenny Kravitz. Well, Lenny Kravitz does occasionally get some play on the classic rock station. He's not embraced as a rock and roll artist. Jimi Hendrix is pretty much the only artist that's embraced as a rock and roll artist. Sometimes
Sure.
Chuck Berry, depending on who you talk to. And so I decided with that, that thought in my mind, what is Black rock and roll? And just, started kind of trying to find the history, the roots, and then the people that carried the genre forward. And it's been, it's been a lot of fun. It really has. I mean, I've learned so much about so many artists that I care so much about. I discovered so many artists that I never knew about. It's really been a fulfilling process.
So from start to finish, how long would you say you've been doing the actual putting together of this presentation?
Well, this particular presentation, 201, it's the conclusion. I mean, not the conclusion. It is the sequel to 101. I started planning that while I was still planning 101. I was like, oh, I can't fit this song in 101. Let's carry it over to 201. And, began thinking about, taking suggestions from the guys too. Because they've all, we've made this journey together, so they're turning me on to stuff that I didn't know about. And, we're all learning and teaching at the same time. It's beautiful.
Absolutely. Now, I just happened to get a notification, and I told you this before we started recording, that today, 2 years ago, was your first presentation of Black Rock 101 over at, where was it? Urban Beat. Yeah.
Yep. Urban Beat. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But before we move on to 201, we really need to talk about Black Rock 101 for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know the first run left you realizing that you needed to hone it down a little bit and specify some areas and sharpen your focus a little bit. How did that presentation when you came out and once you focused that down a little bit, how was that received when you finalized it?
Well, I was actually thinking about it today. I was like, there's a reason why they don't serve alcohol in school. So I was, when it started off, and those that appreciated it really appreciated it, but
Well, yeah.
I spent a good half hour talking before we started playing, and then after we played the first set, started talking, and people, they wanted to dance. They wanted to
Yep.
listen to the music, and it was a Friday night. It wasn't a school day. So I had to that, I this for 201 and for 101 when I presented it later, I narrow it down to a couple facts. People just don't have the bandwidth when they're in that mindset, and perhaps
Yep.
someday, I'll present it in a classroom or in an auditorium where I can give those speeches and teach those facts. But right now it's nice little digestible tidbits for people.
There you go. Now, as you prepared this first generation of Black Rock, you had to put together a strong ensemble to back you. The Black Rock Sextet, as they're called. Talk
Mhm.
about that process for just a minute, and be nice because we got one here listening.
Well, he's the default music director. He hasn't accepted the title, but Eric I'll start with Eric. Talking about Eric. Eric, I've been in a few different musical collaborations with Eric. Well, actually, I think we just Waystation was the only thing official, but we've
That
jammed
is correct.
together
You're
quite a
right.
few
Yes, sir.
times.
Right.
And I know he's Mr. Musician. He's not just a musician. He's Mr. Musician. He gets in there. He learns the thing forwards and backwards. He makes it. You know, he just completely digests the music. And if you're not sure when to come in, you look at Eric. And everybody in the band does that. So Eric, getting that solid bass line down there, literally. I think he was the first person I talked to.
You are? Yes.
And then after talking to Eric, and I usually what I did was when I approached somebody, I was like, "And who do you think we should consider to fill this slot?" Um, Bill Malone, I think that he was also just a no-brainer. I Bill, I haven't heard him play the variety of styles that he's played. I think I've heard Eric do just about everything, but I hadn't
Right.
heard Bill play the variety of styles that he plays in this project until this project. But he's playing punk rock like it's his job, second nature, really. And the other guys, Alan Sloan. The first time I met him was actually he was the music director for a fundraiser I was doing. So him
Wow.
and I have known each other for a little bit, and asked him if he'd be willing, and he was down. And Alan also, he's music director for musicals all over town, for churches all over town. He's just, he's very much a professional and knows all his stuff. Booney, I worked with him also in the same band that I worked with Eric in, Clarence Booney Daughtery,
Yep.
Waystation, and I just knew that Booney is Booney. He is the. You ask anybody about a funky drummer, they're going to bring up Booney first thing. And originally we had Mocha uh,
Yep.
playing saxophone for us, and he had to bow out due to health issues, but he's doing well, and we're very happy that he's doing well, and hopefully he'll be in the back in the saddle again soon. But
Yes.
um, I when I said to Eric and Bill, so who do we get to play saxophone? And they're both like John Gewirtz, both of them. So then we got John Gewirtz to fill in the saxophone spot, and he's singing backups just like Mocha was, and also might
Nice.
be playing some. He's going to be playing some keyboards at this particular show, and a nice cowbell feature.
Very nice. We can't live without cowbell, but listen, I have to give you my 2 cents. Having seen the original lineup for Black Rock 101, and yes, not having Mocha in the round with you is going to be definitely a noticeable difference this
Hmm.
time around. But you have put together just a class of musicians all unto themselves. And I want to bring one of the other musicians in here right now with me. one of the best musicians in the greater Lansing area, one hell of a bassist,
Absolutely.
Mr. Eric Hamilton. Eric, I want to get your take on this project because this really has to be a labor of love for all of you, yeah?
Absolutely. And let me thank you for your compliment, sir. I really appreciate that. Um, Actually, let's go back to 101 for a minute or so.
Sure.
And Ben is right. He actually approached me in the fall of 2022. And he said, listen, Eric, I got this idea and I want to know what you think about it. And so he ran it down to me and he said, do you think people would be accepting of that? Do you think they would go for it? I said, absolutely, because you're talking about history that not many
Yes.
people know about. And so we went ahead and put together the guys, and he gave the material that we're going to do. Once we start putting it together, and once he started getting it out there to promote it, things just kind of clicked like that. I mean, just wow. Next thing we knew, Ben tells us it's sold out. It's like, really? So we knew at that point we had something magical about to happen,
Yes.
and we were certainly prepared to give the presentation that Ben saw, in his head. Went very well. As you saw, you were there.
Yep.
And then we had multiple requests to redo that show again. So during the course of the next year or so, we were able to do it another couple of times. Once at the Pump Stock Festival, we did it there. And then the Green Door had asked us to bring it there. So we did it there as well. Along with those presentations, to echo what Ben said, we had a number of requests to do another one. Can we do another one? Can we do other songs? Can we have more information, more education? So over the last year or so, Ben put together another show to continue from that. And once he presented it to us, again, we are excited about doing it. We're doing a lot of work to get there. And Ben is right. When we get to a point in some of the songs, the guys look at me, okay, where do we go? What do we do? Blah, 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 blah. And I do. I appreciate that because that means they trust what I've done or to prepare for it. And it's easy to go ahead and just say, okay, let's go here, blah, 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 blah. But the guys all put in a lot of work. It's a labor of love, like you said, but it is a definite progressive labor of love. Because not only are we doing this show, but at the same time, we're looking forward to the future if there's still a request to continue this. And if I know Ben, I know he's got some more in his back pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and the thing is, we listen to the radio and we listen to CDs or however you listen to your music. I happen to have some vinyl here, so I listen to a little bit of everything. But I don't think that people really pay attention. And as you have both pointed out so very well, they don't know the backstory. They don't. And for me, I love backstories. I really do. But as I look at this, here comes Black Rock 201. And from what I'm reading, Ben, this is going to be quite a continuation from 101, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say that in some ways, and I don't know if Eric can attest to this, we're doing some even more challenging pieces, musically and vocally for me, and it's I I pick the songs and I got to stick with them, so that's what I'm going to say. But there's some challenging pieces, but it's all I tried to make, just as I did with 101, it's a fluid progression. We go from the roots and we end up in today. And I tried to make a very fluid progression. I want the songs to complement each other as well as tell the story and highlight the people that need the accolades.
As they say, from the roots to the fruits. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we do the show. We do the show
ahead.
in three. We do the show in three sets. The first set is roots to rock and roll, and that we start both times. We started in the 40s and we've ended in the late 60s. And then the second set is Woodstock to punk rock, and that's just what it is. We try to hit everything from the Woodstock, which was 1969,
69, yeah.
1969 till the early 80s. And then we wrap it up with MTV to now. So that's exactly that. So we present artists chronologically from those eras.
And people need to understand that this is not just rock, okay? Because as everyone knows, the blues has touched every genre. So you're going to get to hear some blues. You're going to get to hear some rhythm and blues. You'll hear, like you said, some funk. And Eric, I saw you nodding your head over there a minute ago. Was there something you wanted to throw in on that piece as well?
I just echo what he was saying as far
Okay.
as some of the challenging songs that we're doing, and some of the songs that we're doing. I'm learning some of the background behind them that I never knew before, and that's what makes it really interesting to do this project. Is it's educational for us as musicians as well.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Ben, when you choose the musicians to highlight in each Black Rock segment during the 201, what inspired you to use this particular musician over that? Because I know that you highlight different musicians throughout the presentation.
Well, I'm trying to tell the story, and it's when I did 101, there are so many, you like there's another thread that pops up, and I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm studying Sister Rosetta Tharpe, and there's something that she's influenced by, or somebody that she influenced. That okay, I got to save that for 201, and they um they flow into each other. There's like I I'm trying to think like this particular one. There's a couple. I choose songs chronologically because of well, I don't want to give it away, but say the first two, just for an instance. Okay, the first two songs of Black Rock 201, and I might be ruining it for everyone, but they are the first one. I'm not going to say what the song is, so there I won't ruin it. But the first
Okay.
song that we're doing is the first instance of the word rock in a song where they weren't referring to sex, where they were referring to a dance, which that's where rock and roll came from, is from the dance.
Sure.
The second song that we're doing is the first instance. Well, it tells the story of a swinger of a hot blues jump blues player going to a Bobby Sox party with a bunch of
Wow.
youngins that are into the new rock and roll dances and stuff, and how he handles it. So that's why I picked those particular two songs. But it's kind of like it just like I tell a story, but I also want to get historical on it, and yeah. So I guess that's it.
Yeah.
If
Now,
that helps.
you've already said you're not going to tip your hand too heavily on the lineup. But are you able to talk about the musicians that you're going to highlight? And if so, any particular favorites that you'll be covering, Ben?
Oh yeah, always. They're all my favorites.
Okay.
But uh, we're gonna go from in the last one I told people that we went from Sister Rosetta Tharpe to Black Pumas. In 201, we're going from Roy Brown to Childish Gambino. So, and it's
Okay.
everything in between. So, as far as songs that I know I'm very excited to do are we're doing some Smokey Robinson the Miracles. And I love singing Smokey
Okay.
Robinson because he's right, I got that high pitched voice. He's kind of right in my wheelhouse. So
Yep.
we're doing some Smokey Robinson. We're doing the Chambers Brothers. That Bill Malone's crazy about that. I think all of us are. And half of us didn't know that the Chambers Brothers were black.
Wow. Okay.
So we're doing some Chambers Brothers. In the second set, we're doing uh one. Well, I joke and say that it's Eric Hamilton's Heartbeat. If you listen to it, it plays this song. But we're doing some Brothers Johnson. Um, Strawberry Letter 23 is going to wrap up the second set.
Don't
Also on
give away
that
too
set.
much now.
Oh, okay, no, okay. And then in the third in the third set, we're doing some Gnarls Barkley. We're doing
Wow.
some Tina Turner, some Childish Gambino, of course. So it's like I said, we're weaving a tapestry. It's I'm looking to tell a story, teach people some facts along the way, and entertain and fill the dance floor mostly.
Eric, how about you? Any particular favorites in the lineup without naming songs, maybe just band names? What do you like?
Well, I think first of all, those who know me, when he said Brothers Johnson, right there, that's definitely my wheelhouse. Um, but all of those songs that he selected, all of them were some fantastic songs, even some of the ones I wasn't familiar with, and some of the history behind the artists that created those songs. I can't really pick out one or two that I favor. I mean, the entire block of songs are fantastic. So that's a safe way to keep it. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, I get it. And the thing is, for people that have never seen Black Rock 101, I don't think it would be bad if they came to see 201 and then saw 101 later. Yeah.
I'm not sure if we're going to repeat 101. I think what my plan is to do 101, 201, 301, and then 401 is going to be the review. So it's going to be the greatest hits of all three.
We're going to have to talk because I would love to have you. No, seriously. I would love to have you do 101, record the video of that. And then, as I said, if you like it, we can put it up on the channel. Record 201, which I'm going to be there for. I wouldn't miss this. I got to be honest with you. I would not miss this presentation because
Thank
I
you.
enjoyed 101 that much. And
Thank you very
I've
much.
become, you're welcome. And I've become an even bigger historian, and I appreciate, I guess I'm more of an aficionado of the blues genre and the various branches that go out of it. Some people don't like that. I don't care. It's my buffet plate. I'll fill it any way I want. You fill yours the way you like it. But I'm really excited to see what you guys put together because Ben's one of these guys that doesn't disappoint. He doesn't want to half-ass it, so to speak. And I think that Eric he's nodding his head, so he knows I'm telling the truth here.
Completely agree with you, sir.
Yeah.
Well, I feel the same way about him. That's what another thing that attracted me to these musicians is that they all are dedicated to their craft and they're not going to get up there and embarrass themselves. They're going to put out a quality product.
And I have to be honest with you, I think this is something that 20, 30 years down the road, 40 years down the road, 50 years down the road when we're not here or may not be here, this is something that people are still going to be talking about. I really believe that.
Wow, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
So let's talk about the good part. Where is this going to be? When is it going to be? How much is it going to cost? Reserved or general admission? And how, the most important part, how do people get tickets?
You could get tickets through brown paper tickets. Hold on, I'm looking up at the wall. If you look at br201 I think it's bpt.me, that will take you to the brown paper tickets site. You can also find the event on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, the Black Rock Sextet is on Facebook.
Okay.
Black Rock 201 is the name of the program. Black Rock Sextet is the name of the band. So go to Facebook. We keep you informed there. The tickets are $15 pre-sale, $20 at the door, and I intend to and hope to sell out. But if you want a bargain, get on there and get those. Get that $15 in your pocket.
I was just going to say that based on what happened with 101, it would behoove you, if you're interested in checking this program out, it's worth the drive. If you live in the Metro Detroit area, if you live in Grand Rapids, if you're in Kalamazoo, if you're serious about music, man, it's worth the drive, and buy your tickets early because I believe it will sell out. I mean, the venue is not a huge venue, and you've already done it once, so I have no reason to believe that it won't happen again. Ben, any final thoughts from you, sir?
Not really. I always appreciate the work that you do,
Thank you.
Jim. And this, like I said, do yourself a favor. This Black History Month. This is it's a good thing. It's not about politics. It's not about anything like that. It's about just being proud of really good music and presenting it with some people that I care about, that also happen to be wonderful musicians. So it's a good time, and like I think I posted on the Facebook event, you're gonna exercise your tail feather and your brain cells. So
There you go. Eric, how about you? Any final words?
Well, I'd like to thank you once again, sir, for inviting us to speak about the event here on your show. Really appreciate
Thank you.
it. Also, love seeing you when you come out to support us. Looking forward to seeing you at this show.
and he does do that. He gets out and supports the local
Yes, he
musicians.
does. Love that.
I
Love
absolutely. Yes,
that.
sir.
And as far as the show itself, I echo what Ben says. I encourage people to come out, enjoy the music. I think what he did by scheduling it on February 28th was a fantastic idea because we can take the month out on a high note, on a very positive note, and with some education behind you musically. So people, please come on out there, enjoy us. We would love to see you, and make sure you come up and say hi, okay?
Absolutely. Benjamin Richard Hall, Eric Hamilton, thank you both for your time today. And I have to be honest, I'm planning to be there. I'm excited to be there. Truly looking forward to Black Rock 201. All I can say, guys, is break a leg.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right. Very good. Before we close this episode out, I want to talk about a local organization that you see here on my back wall of the show. The Capital Area Blues Society was founded in 1994. And as we celebrate our 31st year of the blues, we would love to invite everyone within a short drive of Lansing to become part of the fun. We hold and sponsor several events locally, including the Blues Brawl in May, where we send a solo duo act in a band to the International Blues Challenge in Memphis, the annual Michigan Blues Fest held each September in Lansing's Old Town, and Breaking Bread with the Blues each November. We are also seeking donations, and we have a spot open on our board, so be sure to check us out. Donations can be made at capitalareablues.org, and thank you very much for your attention. Well, that wraps up this edition of Time Signatures. Once again, my thanks to Benjamin Richard Hall and Eric Hamilton, but also to you, for if it wasn't for you, none of this would be possible. Jim Ervin reminding you that keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues, one story at a time, is my mission. Until next time, so long, my friends.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.